Welcome to NTD News. I'm Kevin Hogan. Here are today's top stories. The White House considers sending cash payments to Central America to stem migration. A top Republican says it's an insult to the millions of Americans who are out of work. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is speaking out against moving a Major League Baseball game out of the state. He stressed the economic impact of the shift on Georgia residents during a press conference in a local restaurant. Former President Donald Trump predicts Republicans will take back Congress in 2022. He also has a prediction for the presidency in 2024. And Congressman Michael Waltz says that the Army is teaching critical race theory at its premier officer training academy. The former Green Beret gives his take on how the instruction could affect Army morale. Border Patrol found over 24 illegal immigrants crammed in rail cars over the weekend. A top official says it's a dangerous way to travel.
Border Patrol says it found 25 illegal immigrants Friday in rail cars near the border in Texas. They were packed into 3 grain hoppers west of San Antonio. A Border Patrol official tweeted, "Illegally traveling by train is dangerous and life-threatening. Our agents routinely discover migrants that have sustained severe injuries from jumping on and off moving rail cars." The Center for Immigration Studies says immigrants have died in the past while they were being smuggled in railroad cars. And House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy criticized President Biden's plans to send cash to Central America. Last week, Biden's border coordinator said sending money could help alleviate economic problems that motivate people to come to the U.S. McCarthy tweeted, "President Biden wants to try and buy our way out of his border crisis with taxpayer money. The administration is spending $60 million a week and now wants to launch a cash transfer program to Central America." He said it insults the millions of Americans who are out of work right now. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott is calling on Biden to restore former President Trump's immigration policies.
What the president could do is to immediately put back in place the Remain in Mexico protocols that were established in the prior administration. He could continue to build the wall along the border in South Texas.
He says Biden was unprepared to deal with the massive inflow that's coming in. The Biden administration, on the other hand, blames Trump. A top official said Trump's government dismantled the way children could make their claims in their own country, suggesting it caused the surge.
Officials in Georgia are speaking out against what they've called a move of cancel culture. That's after Major League Baseball shifted its All-Star game out of the state over local election reform. But the governor says the economic impacts are going to pose a challenge for the state's residents. Here's more from Atlanta.
Officials in Georgia are in talks over a recent decision from Major League Baseball. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and General Attorney Chris Carr met at a Cobb County seafood restaurant on Saturday. There, they talked about the economic impact expected. That's after the league announced its All-Star game was moving out of Georgia.
Some estimate around 90 to 100 million.
Governor Kemp called the decision a bad one and said it's set to harm hardworking residents in his state.
But 8,000 hotel bookings that are now gone. And you think about how that money turns, that's going into that hotel, into those hardworking Georgians that are working in the hotel, the food that they are buying from their other vendors that are here in Georgia, and so on and so on. The minority-owned businesses that are being hurt in our state.
This is the second news conference where the governor discussed MLB's move. Major League Baseball says it's boycotting the state over recent election reforms. Kemp has accused it of pushing cancel culture. Last week, he also criticized another of the league's decisions, to expand its contract with a Chinese telecommunications giant.
I wouldn't want to speak to something that I don't know about the whole conversation, but it is very hypocritical in some regards that they're targeting a bill that expands access, further secures the vote in Georgia, but they're also willing to do business with countries like China and consider playing or going to play baseball in countries like Cuba. I mean, it's almost like, how do you add those two things up?
Governor Kemp also says that he doesn't support boycotts, adding that he feels sad that polarized politics has affected people's lives.
Sometimes that's by no fault of our own, but sometimes it is. And I understand that. But what's sad to me is a kid that grew up playing baseball from, minor league, little league, played in high school, played Legion ball, thought about playing in college and realized I wasn't near as good as I thought I was. And somebody that's a fan today, I mean, I've been an avid Braves fan, baseball fan. That game, the great American pastime, has now been politicized.
NTD News, Atlanta.
A city in Georgia eagerly awaits a court ruling on whether to remove a Confederate soldier statue. The judge's decision on this case will determine the fate of similar statues around the state. Over the weekend, Georgians held a Save the Statue peace rally. They told NTD's Melina Wisecup why they think it's important to preserve the history of the Confederate South.
This Confederate soldier statue has rested in the square for nearly 115 years, and now it faces an unknown fate. Newton County's Board of Commissioners voted 2-3 to remove it, only to be challenged by a group of local citizens who filed a suit to prevent the statue's removal.
We've got more teeth in our lawsuit than any other lawsuit.
Some say it's wrong to keep these statues, saying they represent oppression and slavery. The group suggests one solution could be to erect another statue, even higher, that represents leaders of the anti-slavery movement.
Let's be positive. Why don't you add something over here of your heritage that you can be proud of, okay? It's not just this one right here. Look at this beautiful park. There's plenty of space for something.
He says in Georgia's Dublin City, they already took this approach. And one Venezuelan immigrant says statues were removed in her home country as communists took over.
By destroying the culture, by destroying history. And one of the first actions that they do is start taking down statues. For example, in Venezuela, the first statue that they took down was Christopher Columbus.
Georgia's home to the world's largest Confederate monument, Stone Mountain. And the ruling for this small statue here could impact whether historic monuments like Stone Mountain are done away with or protected by law.
Is really going to set a precedence for what happens nationwide with our Civil War statues and what they stand for.
The case is on the docket for this Tuesday in the Georgia Court of Appeals. Melina Wisecup, NTD News.
Former President Donald Trump spoke to Republican donors in Florida. He tells them that Republicans will reclaim Congress in 2022 and that then a Republican will win the White House in 2024. According to prepared remarks, Trump told donors, "I stand before you this evening filled with confidence that in 2022 we're going to take back the House and we're going to reclaim the Senate." Trump made the remarks in a Keystone address to the Republican National Committee Donor Summit. He also told them that a Republican will win the White House in 2024. Trump hasn't announced if he'll run for president again. Trump's aide and spokesman, Jason Miller, says Trump is a big favorite to win the Republican nomination if he decides to run. He tells Newsmax that the former president is focused on winning back the House and Senate. Miller says other presidents didn't have much influence after they left office, but Trump is stronger than ever. Forbes says Trump lost about $1 billion while he was president. Evangelist Franklin Graham tweets that it's because Trump put the country ahead of his own interests. He writes, "Donald Trump became president not to make money, but to do his best to preserve the great things about this nation for future generations. He put America first. I've never seen anyone work harder." Miller says Trump is going to remain a public force. He says the former president will go after Biden on the border and other important issues. Congressman Michael Waltz says the Army is now teaching critical race theory at its elite West Point Academy. The former Army Green Beret explained he can't think of a notion more destructive to cohesion and morale. Here are the details.
Waltz says he got the news about West Point from upset cadets and family members. They revealed that students now get mandatory instruction on diversity and equity, and that the instruction has elements of critical race theory. Waltz also described seeing a presentation slide about white power at West Point, as well as another slide about understanding whiteness and white rage. He says military leaders shouldn't be taught to treat fellow soldiers differently based on race or economic background. He adds that in combat, every soldier shares an equal amount of danger, and enemies' bullets don't care about race, religion, or politics.
As a Green Beret, I can't imagine being in a situation in combat and I'm ordering a soldier to charge the machine gun, and he now has a seed planted in the back of his mind. Am I sending him because he's African American? Should I feel guilty because of white privilege?
Waltz serves on the House's Armed Services Committee. He's asking West Point to share all teaching material from their diversity seminars with him. He says he spoke with the Academy superintendent by phone and expects a prompt, formal response to his letter.
Pentagon officials say about 40% of the U.S. Marines have declined to take vaccines for the CCP or Chinese Communist Party virus. Marines media spokesman Andrew Wood told news outlets that over 75,000 Marines are fully vaccinated or have received one dose, while just under 50,000 Marines have declined the shot. USA Today reports that Wood said the best way to address the situation is through building vaccine confidence. Wood also told The Hill that he's working to get educational materials about the virus out to Navy and Marine Corps members. He explained there may be a number of reasons why troops are declining the vaccine. Several Democratic lawmakers have sent a letter to President Biden requesting that he make the vaccine mandatory for all U.S. military members. 4 intruders barged into the printing plant of the Hong Kong edition of the Epoch Times early morning. They damaged computers and printing equipment. The men swung sledgehammers at printing equipment and stole a computer. A spokeswoman for the Hong Kong edition said the intrusion was characteristic of the Chinese Communist Party. She believes it tried to keep the independent outlet from reporting on topics that are taboo to the communist regime. In November 2019, the same facility was attacked. 4 masked men set fire to 2 printing presses. The perpetrators behind the arson attack remain at large. The Epoch Times is one of the few independent media outlets in Hong Kong. It is known for uncensored coverage of China, including extensive coverage of the city's pro-democracy movement. We'll have more details for you in our evening news. Coming up, New York City may be increasing the toll for New Jersey commuters, but 2 New Jersey lawmakers are requesting the U.S. Department of Transportation put the brakes on the plan. And a Japanese golder makes history as the first from his country to win a major golf tournament. He claimed the victory by just 1 shot. Find out more on NTD News. A top aide to Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer traveled to Florida for spring break. She posted photographs on Facebook from the trip. That's as the CDC director recommended against travel. Tricia Foster is the state's chief operations officer. According to social media screenshots from Breitbart, she posted from the Florida Keys last week. The pictures show young people on a beach and by a pool, and also show Foster in a bar. When asked about her son, Foster reportedly told followers that he was home with COVID. A spokesperson for Whitmer called the story about the trip was a partisan attack, adding Foster is fully recovered from COVID and is fully vaccinated against the CCP virus. Governor Whitmer said at a press conference last week that traveling increases the spread of the virus. Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam is ordering the Virginia State Police to conduct an independent investigation into a December traffic stop. The incident involved 2 police officers pepper spraying a uniformed Army officer, Lieutenant Cameron Nazario. The encounter first drew attention after Nazario sued the 2 cops, alleging they violated his constitutional rights. The officer with the pepper spray has already been fired, and body camera footage from that day shows Nazario holding his hands up as 2 officers with weapons drawn demand he get out of his car. The footage also shows him getting cuffed while on the ground. Governor Northam said the incident angered him and invited the Army officer to meet with him. The officer who initially encountered Nazario reportedly believed a driver was high risk to the traffic stop because he was eluding the police. But Nazario's lawyer told the Associated Press that he wasn't eluding the officer, but was trying to find a well-lit area. Maryland was the first state in the nation to adopt the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights, and now they're the first to get rid of it. The state is repealing the Police Bill of Rights, which set out a due process procedure for probing police misconduct. That's as the state's Democrat-controlled General Assembly is overriding Republican Governor Larry Hogan's vetoes of 3 major police reform measures. The new move also repeals job protection in the police disciplinary process and gives civilians a role in the disciplinary process. General Assembly began working on the legislation in response to the police custody death of George Floyd last year. Democrats say the measures are long overdue, while Republicans argue they went too far. A Republican state senator describes the new law as anti-cop. New York City has been approved to add extra tax on New Jersey drivers entering the city. New Jersey commuters are concerned they'll be facing double the toll. A U.S. representative from New Jersey called it a sick joke. Here are the details. New York City's George Washington Bridge is the busiest toll bridge in the world. It costs about $15 to take the bridge into the city. But now, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer says New York City is planning to tack on an extra $13 to that toll. He estimates this would cost each commuter an extra $3,000 a year. The money is estimated to bring about $1 billion to New York every year. The city would use the money to fund $15 billion in improvements to its aging subway and bus system. That's after the MTA's revenue took a big hit during the pandemic. Gottheimer commented on the move. He called it some sort of sick joke to do this to families in the middle of a pandemic. We reached out to the New York City Department of Transportation, but they did not respond in time for broadcast. Congress members Gottheimer and Bill Pascrell Jr. are asking Pete Buttigieg to pull the plug on any approvals. The federal government recently gave New York City the go-ahead to implement the congestion tax, as it's called. In 2019, Gottheimer introduced the Anti-Congestion Tax Act. This would stop the U.S. Department of Transportation from giving new capital grants to MTA projects in New York until drivers could get exemptions from any congestion tax. The bill was never passed, but now he's reintroducing it. The tax would affect commuters taking the George Washington Bridge heading below 60th Street. If the plan is put into action, it would make New York City the first city in the United States to use congestion pricing. A professional golfer becomes the first Japanese man to take home the gold from a major golf tournament. He won the Masters at Augusta National by just one shot on Sunday. Here are the details.
With the weight of a nation on his shoulders, 29-year-old Hideki Matsuyama held on to win the 85th U.S. Masters in Augusta, Georgia on Sunday, making history as the first ever Japanese man to win a major. Matsuyama, who started the day with a 4-shot lead over a quartet that included playing competitor Xander Schauffele and Masters debutant Will Zalatoris, carded a 1 par 73 that left him at 10 under on the week at the year's first major. Americans Zalatoris, a 24-year-old who is not even a full-time member on the PGA Tour, finished in second place at 9 under after shooting a 2 under 70, and Schauffele came in third. Matsuyama grew emotional after becoming champion and told reporters he was thinking about his wife and young daughter in Japan on the day of his victory.
Presidential election results arrive for Ecuador. Conservative banker Guillermo Lasso pulled ahead of leftist economist Andrés Arauz in Sunday's runoff. The vote puts the country on track to keep its open market policies instead of returning to socialism. Ecuador chose a conservative banker as its next president on Sunday. It's a surprise result in a runoff election for Guillermo Lasso, who won out over leftist economist Andrés Arauz. Lasso ran on a platform promising to jumpstart the economy with free market economics against social welfare plans from Arauz. The results set the country apart in South America in its rejection of socialism, while Argentina, Chile, and Bolivia have seen recent popular leftist movements. Ecuador instead is set to maintain its open market policies, a move welcomed by foreign investors wary of the country's weak finances. Lasso is set to take office at the end of May. And just ahead, Queen Elizabeth's husband was honored across Britain on Sunday. Special church services celebrate his life, while the Archbishop of Canterbury said he would pray for those hit hard by the loss. And movie theaters brace for yet another setback as Paramount Pictures delays Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick for another 3 months. Stay tuned to find out more.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment. Call Coventry Direct to learn more.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to help pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking. Maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
I was skeptical. So I did some research and called Coventry Direct. They explained life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies or call 1-800-509-8500. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
if you're like me, and I think it's actually most of us, then you're getting really fed up with the nonsense going on inside the banking system. I mean, we've worked hard our entire lives to retire comfortably. We just recovered from the crash of 2008, and it seems like it's about to happen all over again. Look at the too-big-to-fail banks. They're only getting bigger as the Fed hands them trillions of dollars daily, while simple folks like you and me, we're only getting the short end of the stick. That's why I'm glad I found this book called The Bank Failure Survival Guide. Give us a call, and we'll send you a free copy with no obligations whatsoever, just one American to another, telling you about some options that you might not have considered. Call 866-239-2619 today for your free copy of the Bank Failure Survival Guide. That's 866-239-2619.
Church services across Britain celebrated the life of Prince Philip on Sunday. Many have expressed great sadness at the death of Queen Elizabeth's husband, and the Archbishop of Canterbury said he would pray for them.
As part of 8 days of national mourning, people gathered at royal palaces to leave flowers.
Meet in tribute to His Royal Highness the
While religious and political leaders expressed support for the 94-year-old Queen, the world's oldest and longest reigning monarch. Her husband, Prince Philip, who was officially known as the Duke of Edinburgh, died at Windsor Castle on Friday. He was 99. At Canterbury Cathedral on Sunday, Justin Welby, leader of the Global Anglican Communion, said the fact the Prince had lived to within 2 months of his 100th birthday did not soften the blow for those who had loved him. Buckingham Palace have said the funeral would be held on Saturday, April 17th, marked with long-established plans redrawn and scaled down because of COVID-19 restrictions. There will be no public processions, and it will be held entirely within the grounds of Windsor Castle and limited to 30 mourners. Prince Harry will return from the US, but his wife Meghan, who is pregnant with their second child, will not, on her doctor's advice. It will be Harry's first trip back to the UK since an explosive interview last month given by the couple to Oprah Winfrey. Officials say they hope the occasion will help reunite the family and rebuild ties.
More film delays are announced in Hollywood. Moviegoers will now have to wait to see Tom Cruise's latest movie, Top Gun: Maverick, as Paramount Pictures pushes its release from July to November. The announcement deals a major blow to theaters, as the film's premiere was expected to be one of the biggest releases of the summer blockbuster season.
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
The Top Gun sequel will not be jetting to theaters in July as planned. Top Gun: Maverick, which was expected to be one of the biggest releases of the summer blockbuster season, has been pushed back to November 19th. Tom Cruise fans will know that was the day Paramount Pictures had set for the release of the actor's 7th Mission Impossible movie. Now, that film has been moved to May 2022. Maverick's delay is the latest setback for this summer's movie theater rebound after a year of closures due to the health crisis. Movie theaters were devastated by the closed doors and are hoping that audiences will return this spring and summer as vaccines become more widely distributed. Those hopes were lifted by the recent blockbuster success of Godzilla vs. Kong, even though it was released on the HBO Max streaming service at the same time. But moviegoers will have to wait for Top Gun's high-altitude, stomach-dropping action flick for a while longer.
Now let's turn our attention to health and well-being. Apple cider vinegar is renowned for its many medicinal properties. Today we look at 9 benefits of this cure-all remedy.
Apple cider vinegar has a multitude of benefits, many of which more and more people are starting to realize. It's great for your hair, cleaning, digestion, acid reflux, and much more. And number 1, soothe a sore throat. You can mix about 1/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar with warm water and use it to gurgle with. Of the numerous natural sore throat remedies, many resort to this one. You can also mix it with honey and hot water for more of a tea-like drink. Number 2, as a natural home cleaner and detoxifier. Many store-bought cleaners contain harmful chemicals and toxins. You can ditch them and use apple cider vinegar instead. The vinegar is a great alternative to conventional cleaning products. Number 3, shiny hair. To see how apple cider vinegar can be used to improve your hair shine, simply use it after you wash your hair with shampoo. Number 4, improves your skin health. Apple cider vinegar can be used to treat skin issues from eczema to dry skin and psoriasis. Simply rub some on the affected areas with a cotton ball. Number 5, apple cider vinegar can help with weight loss. Studies have shown that adding apple cider vinegar to your diet can lower your body fat, weight and waist circumference. You can simply add 2 teaspoons to 16 ounces of water each day. Number 6, treatment for acid reflux and heartburn. Acid reflux is not caused by too much acid. In many cases, it's not enough acid that is causing the problem. Using apple cider vinegar can help balance out the acid missing in your system. Use 1 teaspoon followed by a glass of water. Number 7, apple cider vinegar freshens your mouth and removes stains from teeth. To use for bad breath, mix with water and swish. For teeth stains, apply apple cider vinegar directly to your teeth, rub and rinse with water. Number 8, relieves itching. All it takes is a little bit of apple cider vinegar on a cotton ball to relieve the itch of a mosquito bite. Just dab a little bit on the bite. Number 9, excellent for your lymphatic system. One of the powerful benefits of apple cider vinegar is its ability to reduce mucus and sinus congestion. It can help to fight off sinus infections and cleanse the lymph system. It's important to buy apple cider vinegar that is organic and unfiltered so that all of its nutritional value is intact. The Bragg's brand is excellent. The hazy looking substance that sits at the bottom of the apple cider vinegar is called the mother, and it is considered the most nutritious.
And that's all for now. Catch us again tonight at 6:30 Eastern. I'm Kevin Hogan.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't miss out on important news. Our videos are being deleted. So if you don't want to be cut off from honest news, take a moment to sign up for our newsletter at newsletter.ntd.com so you don't lose access to NTD. Go to newsletter.ntd.com to sign up for our evening newsletter.